Mara stands before the grand entrance of the great library, the soft patter of rain creating a gentle symphony against the stone facade. Droplets trace silvery paths down the towering marble columns, catching the faint light of the overcast afternoon. The air is cool and carries the clean scent of wet stone and the distant, briny smell of the sea. A low, gentle rumble of thunder echoes from far away, a soft and soothing bass note in the quiet music of the rain. The sound is distant enough to be comforting, a reminder of the shelter that awaits. She places her hand on one of the immense wooden doors. The wood is dark, almost black with age and moisture, and cool to the touch. Intricate carvings of spiraling vines and celestial maps cover its surface, worn smooth by countless hands over countless years. She leans her weight into the door, and with a deep, resonant creak, it begins to swing inward. The sound is not jarring, but a slow, sonorous groan of ancient timber, a sound that seems to belong to the quiet dignity of the place. As the gap widens, the air from within spills out to meet her. It is calm and still, carrying a faint aroma of aged parchment, cedar, and beeswax. Mara steps across the threshold, leaving the rain-swept world behind. The heavy door swings shut behind her with a soft, final thud, muffling the sound of the storm to a gentle, rhythmic drumming. Here, inside the expansive entrance hall, the world is hushed. Her footsteps, which were silent on the wet stone outside, now echo softly on the polished floor, the sound absorbed by the immense space. Towering shelves, carved from the same dark wood as the doors, stretch up into the shadows, far higher than the eye can easily see. They are filled, not with books, but with scrolls, thousands upon thousands of them, stacked neatly in wooden cubbyholes. She begins to walk slowly, her path illuminated by the soft golden light filtering through high arched windows. The glass is old and imperfect, rippling the gray light from outside and warming it into a honeyed glow. This warm light falls in long, gentle shafts, illuminating the fine dust that drifts in the still air, each mote a tiny spark in the tranquil atmosphere. Mara trails her fingers along the edge of a low shelf. She can feel the smooth, cool wood beneath her fingertips, and then the dry, delicate texture of papyrus. The scrolls are bundled and tied with thin leather cords, their edges brittle with age. Each one holds a story, a piece of knowledge, a lifetime of thought, all resting in silent community. The scent of the library grows stronger as she moves deeper inside. It is a complex and comforting aroma. There is the dry, almost sweet smell of the papyrus, the sharp, clean fragrance of the cedarwood shelves designed to keep insects at bay, and a subtle hint of ink and dried herbs. It is the smell of preservation, of stillness, of time held captive and carefully tended. The air itself feels different here, heavier and more peaceful, as if saturated with the quiet weight of all the words it contains. The only sounds are the whisper of our own movements and the persistent, gentle rhythm of the rain against the high windows. It is a peaceful, steady drumming that seems to insulate the library from the outside world, creating a sanctuary of calm. Her gaze drifts upward, following the columns of shelves until they disappear into the vaulted darkness above. Here and there, a brass ladder leans against a shelf, waiting patiently for a scholar to climb into the higher realms of the collection. Everything is still. Everything is in its place. There is no hurry here. Mara continues her unhurried walk, moving away from the grand entrance hall. She passes statues of poets and philosophers standing silent in alcoves, their marble faces serene and thoughtful in the dim light. The floor transitions from polished stone to worn wooden planks that make a soft, creaking sound under her feet. The sound is warm and familiar. She moves toward a corridor that promises even deeper quiet, the golden light from the entrance fading to a softer, more intimate glow from oil lamps mounted on the walls. The rain remains a constant, soothing presence, a gentle tapping that accompanies her as she ventures further into the library's quiet heart. The corridor stretches before her, a long, narrow passage defined by the rhythmic pulse of lamplight. The flames in the small clay lamps are steady, each one casting a soft, circular glow on the wooden shelves and the stone floor. Between each pool of light, the shadows are deep and soft, blurring the edges of the world. The air here is warmer, still carrying the scent of beeswax and old paper, but now mingled with the faint, oily fragrance of the burning wicks. It's a clean, pleasant smell, the scent of quiet study. Mara meanders forward, her pace unhurried. She is not searching for anything in particular, but simply moving through the space, letting the library reveal itself to her. The walls of the corridor are not walls at all, but the spines of the shelves themselves, creating a labyrinth of knowledge. Countless scrolls are tucked into their cubby holes, their wooden end caps sometimes painted with a symbol or a single letter, a silent system of organization known only to the librarians. Her fingers drift along the edge of a shelf, the wood polished to a soft sheen by centuries of passing hands. It feels smooth and cool beneath her touch. She pauses to look more closely at the woodwork. The upright supports of the shelving units are not plain, but are covered in intricate carvings. Here, a panel depicts a field of papyrus reeds swaying in a gentle breeze. Further down, a carving shows the phases of the moon, each crescent and full orb rendered with delicate precision. Her eyes trace the lines of a spiraling nautilus shell, its perfect geometry a small, quiet wonder in the dim light. These are stories told in wood, tales of the natural world and the cosmos, framing the human stories held within the scrolls. The outside world has faded almost completely. The steady drumming of the rain is softer here, more of a distant, muted murmur than a distinct sound. It is a sound felt more than heard, a gentle vibration that seems to travel through the stone foundations of the building. It reinforces the deep, profound quiet that fills these halls, a silence that is not empty, but full of peaceful presence. The only other sound is the whisper-soft brush of her own clothing as she moves, a barely audible rustle in the still air. Rounding a gentle curve in the corridor, Mara comes upon a small alcove where a marble bust rests on a simple stone pedestal. The lamplight is kind to it, catching the smooth contours of a serene face. The features are worn, the sharp edges of the original carving softened by the passage of ages, giving the figure an expression of immense, gentle calm. Mara steps closer, drawn to its stillness. She raises her hand and lets her fingertips ghost over the cool, smooth surface of the stone, tracing the delicate line of a brow, the gentle curve of a closed eyelid. The marble feels solid and permanent, a silent witness to all the scholars who have walked these halls before. She continues on, the quiet rhythm of her steps marking the time. The corridor eventually opens into a slightly wider space, a small junction where several passages meet. In the center of this space stands a large round table made of dark, heavy wood. Its surface is not empty, but is covered with a collection of maps, spread out as if a geographer had just stepped away. The parchment is the color of old ivory, and the edges of the maps curl slightly in the gentle air. A few polished stones are used as weights, holding the corners down. Mara leans over the table, her hands resting lightly on its edge. The maps depict coastlines she does not recognize, with elegant, hand-drawn script naming unfamiliar seas and mountain ranges. A compass rose, its points decorated with gold leaf that catches the lamplight, sits in the corner of one large map. She runs a finger over the parchment, feeling its dry, slightly rough texture. The ink of the drawings has faded from black to a soft brown, and the colors used to denote forests and deserts have muted into gentle earth tones. There is no sense of urgency in these maps, no call to adventure, only the quiet satisfaction of a world explored and recorded. The steady, muffled cadence of the rain outside feels like a gentle heartbeat for the library, a rhythm that contains no hurry, no demands. It wraps the entire building in a cocoon of quiet, insulating it from the world beyond its stone walls. Inside this cocoon, time itself seems to slow, stretching and softening. Mara straightens up from the map table, her gaze drifting down one of the adjoining corridors. It appears darker than the one she has been following, the lamps spaced further apart, promising an even deeper quiet, a more profound stillness. She feels a gentle pull toward that peaceful darkness, toward the library's quiet heart. Mara follows this quiet invitation, turning from the map table and into the darker passage. The air here is noticeably stiller, the gentle currents that stirred the maps now absent. The lamplight is softer, the oil lamps spaced further apart, creating long, deep shadows between pools of gentle, golden light. Her footsteps, which were already quiet, seem to fall into an even deeper silence on the smooth stone floor. It is a path that seems to lead away from the world into the library's very heart. The walls feel closer here, the high ceilings lost in the peaceful darkness above. The distant murmur of the rain is a constant, soothing presence, a sound that feels ancient and unending. It is the sound of the world being washed clean, a gentle rhythm that underscores the profound stillness within these walls. Mara moves through the alternating light and shadow, her hand trailing along the cool, smooth stone of the wall. The texture is consistent, worn by time into a surface like polished river stone. There are no carvings here, no ornate shelves, just the simple, honest stone of the library's foundation. After a time, as she rounds another gentle bend in the corridor, a different quality of light catches her eye. It is a warmer glow than that of the corridor lamps, a soft, honey-colored light that spills from a small, recessed opening in the wall ahead. It seems to beckon, a small pocket of warmth in the cool, dim passage. Drawn by its gentle radiance, she walks toward it, her pace slow and unhurried. The closer she gets, the more the space feels like a hidden sanctuary, a secret kept by the ancient library. She reaches the opening and peers inside. It is a secluded alcove, a small nook carved out of the thick stone wall. The warm light comes from a single oil lamp with a simple, rounded terracotta base, its flame burning steadily without a flicker. The light it casts is soft and kind, pushing back the shadows just enough to reveal a small, private haven. The space is no larger than a whisper, but it feels as vast and peaceful as a starlit desert sky. On the floor, a collection of plush cushions is arranged in a welcoming pile. Their colors are deep, An earthy, russet red, dark ochre, and a blue, the color of twilight. Mara steps into the alcove, her feet leaving the cool stone of the corridor for the soft surface of a small woven rug. The air inside is warm and still, holding the faint, clean scent of burning oil and old wool. Opposite the cushions, against the back wall, hangs a simple tapestry. It depicts a single, leafless tree under a sky full of soft, silver stars. In the center of the nook sits a low table, crafted from a dark, heavy wood, its surface polished to a gentle sheen. It invites rest, a place to simply be. She moves toward the cushions, her hand reaching out to touch the topmost one. The fabric is a thick, velvety material, soft and yielding beneath her fingers. With a slow, quiet movement, she lowers herself onto the pile of cushions. They sigh softly under her weight, embracing her in their plush depths. As she settles, the world outside the alcove seems to recede further. The long corridor, the map table, the marble bust, they all fade into a distant memory. Here, in this small, warm space, there is only the present moment. Her gaze falls upon the low table. Resting on its dark surface is a single, slender scroll, its creamy parchment held fast by a thin strip of worn leather. She leans forward, the cushions shifting slightly with her movement, and picks it up. It is light in her hands, delicate and precious. She works the simple knot of the leather tie, her fingers moving with care. The leather is soft and pliable, and it comes undone with a faint whisper. The scroll is free. Mara lays the scroll across her lap and slowly, carefully, begins to unfurl it. The sound is a quiet rustle, a dry, papery whisper that seems to be the only sound in the universe. The parchment is smooth and cool to the touch. As she unrolls it, a beautiful script is revealed, written in ink the color of dark earth. The characters are a beautiful dance of strokes, some bold and strong, others as fine as a strand of hair. She does not try to read the words, content to simply admire their form, the elegant flow of ink across the page. She traces the shape of a single complex character with her fingertip, hovering just above the surface of the parchment, following its curves and lines. It is a quaint, reverent gesture, an appreciation for the long-vanished hand that made these marks with such care. The distant, gentle rain continues its soothing serenade against the far-off roof of the library. Each drop feels like a soft note in a lullaby, a sound that has comforted countless souls through the ages. The warmth of the lamp casts comforting, wavering shadows on the stone walls of the alcove, and the quiet rustle of the ancient page in her hands harmonizes with the distant patter of rain, a perfect duet for a peaceful night. For a long time, Mara simply holds the scroll, her hands resting in her lap, her gaze soft upon the elegant, ancient script. The world seems to have narrowed to this single object, this tangible piece of a long-ago time. The warmth from the small oil lamp seems to collect in the curve of the parchment, a gentle heat that radiates into her palms. The air is so still that the faint, dry scent of the old paper rises to meet her, a fragrance of dust and time and patient ink. With a final, lingering look at the beautiful characters, she begins to roll the scroll closed. Her movements are slow, reverent. The edge of the parchment whispers against the main body of the scroll as it turns, a soft, rustling sound that fills the small space. She rolls it carefully back into its tight cylinder, her thumbs guiding the edge until it is perfectly aligned. The ancient document is once again a secret, its story held safe within its coils. She picks up the thin leather cord from the table beside her. It feels soft and supple against her fingertips. She wraps it once, then twice, around the middle of the scroll and ties a simple, secure knot. The task is complete. Leaning forward, she places the scroll back in the very center of the low wooden table. It rests there in the lamplight, a silent testament to the countless stories sheltered within these walls. Mara leans back, letting her body sink deeper into the embrace of the cushions. They yield beneath her, a soft sigh of fabric and stuffing as she settles. A gentle warmth spreads across her shoulders and down her back, a deep comfort that seems to emanate from the very heart of the library. The lamplight washes over her, a soft, honeyed glow that feels like a warm blanket on her skin. She closes her eyes for a moment, just to feel the light on her eyelids, a faint, rosy warmth against the darkness. The air in the alcove is heavy and still, thick with the peace of ages. The scent of the lamp oil is clean and subtle, a grounding aroma that mingles with the faint, earthy smell of the wool tapestry and the ancient stone. It is the scent of sanctuary, of a place set apart from the world, where time moves at a different pace. She shifts slightly, finding a perfect hollow amongst the cushions, her head resting back against the pile. The world outside the alcove feels 1,000 miles away, a distant memory that has no bearing on this moment of profound stillness. The sound of the rain has changed. The steady, rhythmic drumming on the high ceilings has softened, fading into a gentle, intermittent patter. It is no longer a constant chorus, but a series of quiet, individual notes, a soft drop here, a gentle trickle there. It is the sound of a world slowly quieting down, of a storm that has spent its energy and is now whispering its goodnight. There are longer moments of silence now between the sounds, pauses that allow the deep quiet of the library to reassert itself. In these quiet gaps, she can almost hear the stillness, a presence as real and comforting as the warmth of the lamp. The softened rhythm of the rain becomes a gentle lullaby, a cadence that seems to match the slowing beat of her own heart. Each drop is a soft punctuation mark in a long, peaceful story written by the night. The sound speaks of shelter, of being warm and dry while the world outside is washed clean. It is a sound that asks nothing, demands nothing, simply offering its gentle, percussive peace to the quiet air. Her own breathing slows, deepening into a quiet, effortless rhythm. Each breath is a soft tide, rising and falling in harmony with the great, silent respiration of the library itself. The feeling of rest is a palpable thing, a gentle weight that settles over her limbs, easing them into a state of complete repose. The stories of the library, the countless voices and histories held in the scrolls and manuscripts, seem to hang in the air around her. They are not words to be read, but a presence to be felt, a vast collective dream that permeates the stone and wood. Time itself feels different here, in this sheltered nook. It is not a river flowing forward, but a deep, still pool. The minutes stretch, becoming soft and indistinct. There is no past to consider, no future to plan for. There is only the soft, warm glow of the present moment. Her thoughts, once so clear, begin to soften at the edges, dissolving like mist. They drift and float, untethered, becoming part of the quiet tapestry of the night. The small flame of the oil lamp burns steadily, a tiny golden star in the quiet dark. It casts a gentle, unwavering light on the polished surface of the table, on the simple weave of the tapestry. The tree on the wall hanging seems to stand in a field of deep tranquility, its bare branches reaching toward a sky of patient silver stars. The shadows in the corners of the alcove are soft and deep, holding no mystery, only peace. Mara's eyelids feel heavy. The world seen through them is a gentle blur of warm light and soft darkness. The distant sound of the last few raindrops becomes fainter, more spaced out, until it is almost indistinguishable from the silence. The stillness deepens, wrapping around her like the softest wool. The light of the lamp seems to hum a quiet, silent song. The stars of the library are all around, whispering of peace, of slumber, of the deep and dreamless quiet that comes at the end of a long journey. In this sacred space, surrounded by the gentle breath of history, there is only rest. The world is quiet. The lamp burns on. A profound stillness settles over everything. The traveler walks along the well-worn path at the edge of the Nile, where the sun's final light spills across the water. The great river, a ribbon of liquid gold and rose, mirrors the sky above. Each gentle ripple distorts the reflection, creating a fluid painting of deep orange and muted pink, ever-changing and soft. The day's heat has softened, leaving a deep, settled warmth in the earth underfoot. The path is smooth, compacted by countless seasons of footfalls. Fine pale dust rises in small, silent puffs around the traveler's sandals with each step. To one side, the land is dry and quiet. To the other, the great river breathes a cool, damp air that feels soft against the skin. The air itself carries the scent of the riverbank, a clean, earthy smell of wet clay and the green fragrance of growing things. A dense stand of papyrus reeds grows along the water's margin, their slender stalks reaching for the last of the light. A soft breeze, a mere whisper from the north, moves through them. The leaves rustle and sway, their feathery tops brushing against one another with a sound like dry paper, a constant, soothing whisper. They bend and rise in a slow, hypnotic dance, their movements marking the gentle passage of the evening air. The traveler pauses, listening to this quiet music of the riverbank. The world feels calm, unhurried. In the stillness, other sounds emerge. The gentle lapping of water against the muddy shore, a soft and rhythmic shushing. Far in the distance, a muffled sound of village life begins to settle for the night. Too far away to be distinct, just a low hum on the edge of hearing. At the water's edge, a lone ibis stalks through the shallows. Its long, spindly legs move with a methodical grace, placing one foot and then the other without a splash. Its body is a stark white against the darkening water, and its long, curved beak is the color of polished ebony. The bird dips its head, probing the soft mud with a delicate, tapping motion. It is entirely absorbed in its search, a picture of perfect, peaceful focus. The traveler watches as it creates tiny concentric rings on the water's surface, which expand outward and then vanish. The sun finally slips below the western horizon, leaving behind a sky stained with violet and indigo. The light changes, becoming softer, grayer. The vibrant colors on the river fade into a deep silvery sheen that reflects the first pale stars beginning to appear. The warmth from the path begins to seep away, replaced by the cool blanket of the coming night. A new scent joins the air, carried on that same gentle breeze. It is the distant, pleasant smell of wood smoke from acacia fires being lit for the evening meal, a comforting aroma of hearth and home. Out on the center of the river, a felucca glides silently by. Its single, large, triangular sail is a dark silhouette against the fading light of the sky. It catches the last whisper of the day's wind, moving with an effortless and unhurried grace. No sound comes from the boat, no splash of an oar or call of a voice. It is simply a shape moving through the quiet twilight, a silent traveler on the ancient waterway. The traveler watches it until it becomes a small, dark speck in the distance, eventually merging with the far bank. The path continues to wind along the river, following its gentle curves. The air grows cooler still, and the chorus of the reed softens as the breeze dies down. The sky is now filled with a tapestry of stars, their light sharp and clear in the dry desert air. Their reflections glitter on the dark, placid surface of the Nile, as if a second sky exists just below the water. The traveler feels the stillness settle deep into the landscape, a profound quiet that seems to rise from the ancient stones and the timeless river itself. Ahead, the path curves away from the immediate riverbank. A warm, gentle glow appears in the distance, the soft, flickering light of oil lamps. With the light comes a new sound, a low and pleasant murmur, the blended sound of quiet conversation and soft music. It is the sound of the evening market, a place of gentle commerce and community. The traveler turns toward the light, continuing the journey as the river flows silently on in the darkness, moving from the quiet solitude of the bank toward the warm heart of the town. The path beneath the traveler's feet changes. The soft, yielding earth of the riverbank gives way to smooth, worn flagstones, cool and solid. The warm glow ahead resolves into individual points of light, the soft, buttery flames of dozens of oil lamps. They hang from wooden stalls and cast long, gentle shadows that dance on the stone walls of the narrow street. The low murmur of the town sharpens into distinct sounds. The quiet cadence of conversation, the soft clatter of pottery, and the faint, melodic notes of a stringed instrument. The traveler steps under a low archway, and the air immediately changes. It grows warmer, filled with a rich and complex tapestry of scents. The earthy smell of the river is replaced by the fragrance of dried herbs, the sweet perfume of dates, and the sharp, pleasant aroma of cedarwood. This is the heart of the evening market, though its pulse is slowing, settling into a gentle rhythm for the night. The main thoroughfare is not crowded. A few figures move slowly between the stalls, their voices low and unhurried. Merchants are beginning to pack away their wares, their movements methodical and practiced. One is carefully stacking hand-painted wooden bowls, the clink they make soft and muted. Another drapes a heavy canvas cloth over a table of gleaming copper pots. The atmosphere is one of peaceful conclusion, of a day's work gently coming to a close. The traveler's path leads past a stall overflowing with vibrant textiles. Bolts of linen and wool are stacked in soft pyramids, their colors deep and rich in the lamplight. There are swaths of fabric the color of the deep desert sky at dusk, a profound indigo. Others are the color of radiant ochre, like dried earth warmed by the afternoon sun. The traveler pauses, drawn to the quiet beauty of the display. A hand reaches out, and fingers brush against a bundle of soft, cream-colored linens. The fabric is cool and smooth to the touch, with a fine, even weave that speaks of careful, patient hands. Each fold seems to hold the faint scent of the flax from which it was spun, a clean and simple fragrance. Moving on, the traveler drifts past stalls where the air is thick with the scent of spices. Small, neat mounds of ground powders are arranged on wooden platters. There is russet-colored cumin, golden turmeric, and pale green coriander, their combined aroma warm and aromatic. Whole cinnamon sticks are tied in bundles with twine, and small, dark cardamom pods fill a clay bowl, releasing their sweet, pungent perfume into the night air. Next to the spices, large terracotta jars stand in a row. They are filled with olives, some small and dark, others large and green, glistening in a bath of scented oil and herbs. Nearby, a merchant is carefully arranging a display of fruit. Piles of dark, sticky dates gleam in the lamplight, and woven baskets are filled to the brim with figs, their purple skins looking soft and delicate. Lavender, an older man with a kind and weathered face, notices the traveler's gaze. He doesn't speak, but simply picks up a single, perfect fig from the basket. He holds it out, his palm open, a simple, silent offering. The traveler accepts with a nod of thanks. The fig is still slightly warm from the last of the day's heat, its skin soft and yielding. The taste is sweet and honeyed, a small moment of pure, simple pleasure. The gentle music that has been a soft undercurrent to the market sounds now grows clearer. The traveler sees the source, a musician sitting on a low stool in a small alcove. He holds a wooden lyre, its surface polished smooth from years of use. His eyes are closed, and his head is tilted slightly as he plays. His fingers move with a slow, deliberate grace across the strings, plucking a simple, quiet melody. The notes are clear and gentle, weaving through the soft sounds of the closing market. The tune is not sad, nor is it joyful. It is simply peaceful, a lullaby for the end of the day, each note floating for a moment in the warm air before fading away. The market continues to settle. More lamps are being extinguished, their wicks pinched between thumb and forefinger, leaving behind a faint trail of smoke and the scent of burnt oil. The shadows lengthen and deepen. The conversations have all but ceased, replaced by the soft rustling of merchants wrapping their leftover goods in cloth. The clatter and clinking have softened to a whisper. The air cools slightly as the last of the day's warmth radiates away from the stone floors and walls. The traveler walks on, moving through the quieted space, a solitary, peaceful observer. At the far end of the market street, beyond the last stall, stands a wide, unadorned stone archway. Through it, a different quality of light can be seen. Not the warm, flickering yellow of the oil lamps, but a cooler, steadier, silvery light. It spills onto the flagstones, creating a path of pale white. The traveler moves toward this archway, leaving the last of the market's gentle activity behind. The air from the opening ahead feels still and calm, carrying a new scent of night-blooming flowers and cool stone, promising a place of quiet reflection. The traveler steps forward, passing under the heavy stone lintel of the archway. The air changes instantly. The last lingering warmth of the crowded market street gives way to a profound and immediate coolness, as if stepping into the shadow of a great hill. The scents of spices and baked bread dissolve, replaced by the clean, damp fragrance of stone and night-blooming flowers. All the soft, residual sounds of the market, the rustle of cloth, the distant murmur of a closing stall are gone, sealed off by the thickness of the walls. A deep and welcoming silence takes their place. Inside the archway, the traveler pauses, allowing a moment for the world to reshape itself. Before them lies a wide open courtyard, cradled by high, smooth walls that rise up to meet the night sky. The space feels ancient and still, a pocket of tranquility hidden from the life just beyond its entrance. The ground is paved with large, flat stones, their surfaces worn to a soft polish by countless seasons and footsteps. In the silvery moonlight, the stones gleam with a soft, milky luminescence, their joins filled with fine, dark sand. The world seems to have slowed its turning here, holding its breath under the vast open canopy of the heavens. At the very heart of the courtyard, a gentle sound draws the traveler's attention. It is the soft, constant murmur of water. A low circular fountain sits in the center of the space. It is carved from a single piece of dark stone, its rim wide and smooth. Water wells up from an unseen source in the middle, creating a barely perceptible dome on the surface before spilling over in a continuous, quiet sheet down its sides. The surface of the water is a perfect, dark mirror, reflecting the pinpricks of distant stars. Floating on this dark mirror are several large, white lotus flowers. Their petals are closed for the night, folded inward like hands in prayer, their pale forms glowing softly in the moonlight. Each time a gentle breeze stirs the air, the flowers drift almost imperceptibly, their movement creating the faintest of ripples that spread outward in slow, perfect circles. The traveler walks slowly toward the fountain, the soles of their sandals making almost no sound on the smooth flagstones. The air is still and cool against the skin, carrying the delicate, sweet perfume of the lotus blossoms. It is a subtle fragrance, not overwhelming, but clean and calming. Reaching the edge of the fountain, the traveler looks down into the clear, dark water. The reflection of the night sky is so perfect it feels like gazing into another universe, deep and endless. The soft sound of the water is a gentle whisper, a constant, soothing presence that seems to absorb all other thought, leaving only a sense of profound peace. The traveler turns their gaze from the water to the high walls that enclose the courtyard. They are made of plaster, smoothed and painted a pale, sandy color that seems to capture and hold the moonlight. In places, the plaster is cracked with a fine web of lines, telling the story of years spent under the hot sun and cool nights. The traveler reaches out a hand and rests it against the wall. It is not cold, as the stone underfoot is. Instead, it holds a faint, residual warmth, a memory of the sunlight it soaked in during the day. The surface is smooth, but not slick, with a fine, granular texture, like hardened sand. It feels solid and dependable, a silent guardian of this quiet space. Looking up, past the top of the walls, the traveler sees the full expanse of the sky. It is a deep, cloudless indigo, a shade of blue so dark it is almost black. Against this profound darkness, the stars are scattered like a handful of brilliant jewels. They do not simply twinkle. They seem to pulse with a slow, steady light, ancient and serene. Tall, slender palm trees stand like sentinels at the corners of the courtyard, their trunks dark silhouettes against the sky. Their long fronds sway in the high, gentle currents of the night air, creating a soft, dry, rustling sound. It is a sound like distant waves on a sandy shore, a rhythmic shushing that weaves itself into the melody of the fountain's water. A low stone bench rests against one of the walls, nestled between two large terracotta pots from which green vines spill over. The traveler moves toward it and sits. From here, the entire courtyard is visible. The shimmering fountain, the pale, warm walls, the dark silhouettes of the palms against the star-dusted sky. The moon casts long, soft-edged shadows of the trees across the flagstones, shadows that shift and sway in time with the rustling fronds. The world is reduced to these simple, beautiful things. Cool stone, moving water, quiet light, and the vast, silent sky. There is nothing to do here but be still. Nothing to do but listen to the soft music of the night. After a long, peaceful while, a new detail catches the traveler's eye. On the far side of the courtyard, directly opposite the archway from the market, is another opening. It is a tall, rectangular doorway set deep into the wall. Unlike the simple entrance to the courtyard, this one is framed with carved stone, though the details of the carvings are softened by shadow. No light spills from it, only a deeper, more profound darkness, suggesting a place of even greater quietude. A sense of immense age seems to emanate from it, a stillness that feels different from the living peace of the courtyard. The traveler rises slowly from the bench and begins to walk toward this new threshold, moving without haste across the moonlit stones. As the traveler approaches the tall rectangular doorway, the air itself seems to change. The gentle, floral scent of the courtyard gives way to a cool, drier air that spills from the darkness within. It carries a faint, earthy aroma of ancient stone and dust, and something else beneath it, a sweet, woody fragrance, like old cedar and myrrh. The traveler reaches the threshold, the moonlight from the courtyard illuminating the stone frame. The carvings are worn smooth by time, their intricate details softened into gentle, flowing lines. A hand is raised to touch the stone. It is cool and solid, with a fine, gritty texture, and feels impossibly old, holding a stillness that seems to absorb the warmth from the traveler's skin. There is no door, only an open passage into the waiting quiet. Stepping through the opening is like entering another world. The soft sounds of the courtyard, the fountain, the rustling palms are instantly muted, replaced by a deep and profound silence. The traveler's first footstep inside makes a soft, crunching sound as sand shifts over the stone floor, a sound that seems vast in the immense quiet. The air is noticeably cooler here, a relief from the lingering warmth of the day, and it rests on the skin like a soft, dry cloth. The space is a cavern of shadow, but not complete darkness. Far above, narrow slits cut into the high stone ceiling allow slivers of moonlight to pierce the gloom, creating pale, shifting columns of light that are filled with slowly swirling dust motes. And in the distance, set in sconces on the far walls, a few torches burn with a low, steady flame. Their light is a warm golden orange, flickering gently and sending long dancing shadows across the floor and up the walls. The traveler stands still for a moment, allowing their eyes to adjust to the dimness. The chamber is immense, Great stone columns, wider than a person can embrace, rise up like the trunks of ancient trees, disappearing into the darkness overhead. They are spaced far apart, creating wide avenues that lead deeper into the temple. The traveler begins to walk forward, moving slowly between two of these colossal pillars. The sound of their sandals on the sand-dusted floor is the only sound, a soft, rhythmic whisper accompanying their steps. The torchlight plays across the surface of the columns and the high walls, revealing them to be covered in carvings. Endless rows of hieroglyphs tell stories in a silent, pictorial language. There are processions of figures with the heads of birds and jackals, serene-faced kings holding staffs, and intricate symbols of life and eternity. The carvings are shallow, but the flickering light gives them a sense of depth and movement, as if the figures might stir from the stone at any moment. The traveler pauses and traces the outline of a falcon's head with a fingertip. The stone is smooth and cool inside the carved line, a perfect, shallow groove worn by a patient, long-forgotten hand. The air is thick with the scent of old incense. It is not the fresh, smoky smell of a recently extinguished flame, but a deep, resonant fragrance that has seeped into the very pores of the stone over countless years. It is a calming, grounding scent, a mixture of frankincense and sandalwood that speaks of ceremony and contemplation. It hangs in the still air, a constant, invisible presence that weaves through the shadows like a silver thread. As the traveler moves deeper into the heart of the temple, a new sound emerges from the profound silence. It is faint at first, barely noticeable. A single, clear, metallic drop of water echoing in the vast space. Then, a long silence. And then, another drop, its echo rippling through the quiet hall. The sound seems to come from a hidden, unseen place. A slow, patient rhythm that marks the passing of time in the darkness. The traveler continues walking, past more columns, through alternating pools of soft moonlight and warm torchlight. The floor here is uneven, worn into shallow dips and hollows by the passage of ages. The sand gathers in these hollows, making the footing soft. The traveler's pace is unhurried, a gentle wandering through this sanctuary of stillness. Then, another sound joins the dripping water. It is a soft, gentle chime, a single, pure note from a small bronze bell. It resonates for a long moment before fading completely, as if stirred by a current of air too subtle to be felt. It seems to be an invitation, a call to move further into the temple's quiet heart. Following the memory of the sound, the traveler passes through the great hall of columns and into a smaller, more intimate chamber ahead. The ceiling here is lower, and a single oil lamp rests on a low stone pedestal in the center, casting a pool of steady, golden light. The air in this chamber is even more still, the scent of incense more concentrated. The walls are smooth, unadorned stone, absorbing the light and giving the small room a warm, comforting glow. The gentle, dripping water sounds closer now, just beyond the far wall. The silence here feels different, not empty, but full of a deep, abiding peace. Leaving the small, still chamber, the traveler moves back into the great hall of columns. The air shifts, becoming vast and open again, the scent of old incense thinning slightly. The single oil lamp is left behind, and the world returns to the gentle pattern of moonlight and the low, golden glow of distant torches. The traveler's footsteps are soft on the sand-dusted stone, a quiet rhythm in the immense silence. Ahead, the temple entrance appears as a tall rectangle of deep, star-filled indigo framed by the monumental stone of the gateway. It is a stark and beautiful contrast to the warm, enclosed darkness of the temple. A breath of cool, dry air drifts in from the desert, carrying the clean scent of sand and open space. It is a quiet invitation to the world outside. The traveler walks toward the opening, passing the last of the great columns, their carved surfaces now just deep shadows in the receding light. Stepping through the massive portal, the enclosed world of the temple falls away. The sky opens up, an immense, dark dome of breathtaking clarity, scattered with the light of 1,000 stars. The scale of the desert night is profound, a silent sweeping vista that stretches to every horizon. The traveler stands for a moment on the stone threshold, feeling the shift in temperature. The air is cooler here, a gentle chill that feels refreshing against the skin after the stillness of the temple. Below the stone steps, the desert begins. The sand is pale and luminous under the starlight, its surface rippled by the day's wind into endless, soft waves. The temple, now behind, is a silent, hulking shadow against the star-dusted sky. Descending the shallow, worn steps, the traveler's sandals meet the soft give of the sand. The sound of each footstep changes, becoming a soft, whispering crunch. The traveler begins to walk, moving away from the temple's dark form and into the open expanse. The world is reduced to simple, elemental things. The sand underfoot, the air on the skin, the vast and silent sky above. A gentle breeze stirs, flowing over the curves of the dunes like a slow, invisible river. It lifts the finest grains of sand, creating a barely there shimmer in the air, a silver mist that dances for a moment before settling again. The breeze is cool and carries no scent but the dry, mineral essence of the earth itself. It whispers past the traveler's ears, the only sound in the deep quiet of the night. The traveler walks without a destination, simply moving across the luminous landscape. The sand is not cold. Beneath the cool surface layer, a gentle, residual warmth from the day's sun remains, held in the countless grains. With every step, this faint warmth can be felt through the soles of the sandals. The dunes rise and fall in gentle, sweeping curves, their crests outlined sharply against the field of stars. The world here feels ancient and peaceful, wrapped in the intimate embrace of the night. After a time, the traveler finds a large, gracefully curved dune. On its leeward side, sheltered from the faint breeze, is a deep, soft hollow. It looks like a natural resting place, a gentle scoop in the sand. The traveler moves into this hollow, the sand rising up on three sides like soft walls. The whisper of the wind fades, and the quiet becomes even more profound. The sand here is even softer, undisturbed and deep. The traveler settles into the curve of the dune. The sand yields and shifts, conforming perfectly, offering a soft, warm support. Leaning back against the gentle slope, the traveler's view is filled entirely with the night sky. No horizon is visible, only the endless, deep canvas of space. The constellations spin their ancient tails in the deep, dark blue. The river of the Milky Way is a soft, glowing cloud, a path of faint light arcing from one side of the sky to the other. The air in the hollow is completely still. The warmth of the sand seeps slowly, a comforting, grounding presence. The stars do not flicker in this clear, dry air. They are steady points of silver and diamond, some bright and bold, others so faint they are only visible with a sideways glance. The celestial sphere moves with an imperceptible slowness, a grand and silent turning that has marked time since its beginning. Here, cradled in the dune's gentle arc, time seems to pause. The world is vast, yet the small hollow feels safe and secluded. A single star, brighter than the rest, traces a slow, silent path across the darkness. The cool, dry scent of the desert night is the only fragrance. The silence is complete. The universe unfolds above in silent reverence. The sand is warm. The air is still. A deep quiet settles over everything.